Hey, folks, want to share with you part of our vision this week. Um, we're at a crucial moment in the church plant. God has been doing some amazing things. We're still seeing people come to Christ. We've got another man that's come to Christ. We'll be working through how to baptize them since it's cold and lakes are starting to freeze. But we are seeing God move in lives and grow men, mature them, help them become what they were made to be. We're also seeing God do that with women and children. We have a youth group now, and we have need for a children's church and a nursery. Um, but we're also seeing some women come to Christ and others become regulars. And so as this group begins to grow and bond and become a family, we're looking for a place to live, right? A family home. And so we are planning in the long range to fulfill the vision that God has given us quite a while ago. Some of you may have gotten copies of this at the events, but we put together this plan for what we called Near North Community Church. That church, that was just a logo and a name to start things off, to kick things off. And since then, as we've been able to lead the folks that we work with in ownership of the church, knowing that it is their church and they are responsible for it, they've come up with a new name. I don't know if you can see it, but Freedom Missionary Baptist Church. It goes by FMBC Twin Cities. You can go to the website and check it out at fmbctwincities.com. They've gone through thinking about the logo and how to sort of share that we exist with the community. And we've been working through helping each of the disciples grow as a family unit and sharing who we are and what we do and what matters to us, our vision, our values, our ministries, really, also. And so there are some ministries that have been pretty integral. They're pretty regular. We're seeing people do them regularly, things like food programs. We've been serving with people that are in reentry, prison reentry, meaning they're coming out of prison and they're re-entering society, and they're going through a transitional time where they're learning to do things for themselves so that they can flourish this time outside of prison and hopefully never go back. We're also working with people in the recovery community, people that have battled drug and alcohol addiction and other forms of addiction. And we're working with mothers and women who may be coming out of domestic abuse situations or just bad situations in general. And you've seen, probably, if you follow it for any extent, that we have tons of kids that we serve in the neighborhood, which is not abnormal since a third of our neighbors are children. And we have quite a few children for them to play with as well. But as we've gone along, we've been meeting for worship for a couple of months now, several months. It's becoming obvious that we're struggling to do some of the other things that we're led to do because we don't have a central location. There are, I guess, abnormal issues that make it difficult to meet in the home. For one, most of the people that we work with live in a facility. So people that are not in a facility are not able to necessarily go into the facility. Others are not able to visit the church if it's in a home with a bedroom that someone lives in. That might seem abnormal, but that's part of parole. And we're seeing people come to Christ, and we're seeing people grow, and we're seeing people transformed, going from darkness to light, from death to life. And so we don't want to leave them behind, and we want to be able to continue to serve them because God is working there. But we're limited to about 3 hours a week where we can gather together, all of us, in one place and worship God But then there's still needs for counseling. There's still needs for doing ministry together, like serving our neighbor's food. Um, there's a desire to do a glove giveaway. There's a desire to invite people in on a regular basis to hear about Jesus Christ and know about him, not just on the day that we have our worship service, but throughout the week. And we have people willing and able to serve. But when you work in low-income neighborhoods, one of the challenges is finances. So we are praying that God will raise up hopefully a lead partner and several other financial partners that will help us raise a budget to go start phase one of our big vision. And phase one of our big vision is locating a ministry headquarters, is what we call it. Let me give you a picture of what we're looking to do long run. When I was in Little Rock, some of you know I rapped, and I would serve with various ministries. I had a friend named Justin. Justin invited me to come to a place called Healing Waters. Healing Waters is not a church. It was a ministry that served people. And so I went there and we checked it out and we did some concerts there. They did a lot of stuff with teens and youth, and so of course rap music is something that would be helpful in that situation. And I was a rapper, so we got invited to be there quite a bit. But as I began to grow with the folks that were serving at Healing Waters, with the volunteers and with Robert and the folks that run the ministry on the day-to-day, other opportunities opened up. Like I got to serve on lock-in staffs, and I was invited to help with tutoring, and got to see a lot of the things that are in the facility that I was unaware of at first. And that facility really serves low-income, impoverished groups of people that need the hands and feet of Jesus Christ to help them just get by. But it also served people similar to who God has put me with, working with folks that are coming out of prison or have a background where they've been arrested, they've got a criminal record, maybe they have families, maybe they don't. You've got people that struggle with drug addiction, and you've got the kids that are growing up in this. And there's a need for Christ to be at work in their lives, because otherwise these folks are just out there in darkness, just left to themselves, and who's going to tell them about God's great love? And that was part of my heart when we were in Arkansas, so we spent a lot of time there. But it's still a part of my heart. I mean, we live in North Minneapolis. We did that on purpose. We moved into the closest area we could find that was like Southwest Little Rock, when we wanted to know where there were people that nobody else wanted to go around or be around because it was scary or dangerous or hard. And that's where my wife Laura and I wanted to go, and we moved our family here, and we've been here for 10 years. And now we've got a team of people that God's putting together, some that have just come to Christ, others that have been revived, some that have been walking faithfully for a while. But we're all together growing as a family, and we want to serve the community. And so when you go into Healing Waters, it's kind of like it's right outside of town, and it's like a strip mall. And when you go into the strip mall, you know there are different kind of office buildings or retail stores normally. Well, on the far left side, if you were to go in and you were to look to the left and walk along that whole wall to the back, what you would see are these glass door rooms that were set up to watch children for single mothers and parents and grandparents that weren't able to work without having some help, manned by volunteers. That's something that North Minneapolis needs so bad. Some of our neighbors just need the help of a babysitter. We want to grow into that. We're not there yet. We want to grow into that type of a service. It's in our plans. If you were to look to the right of it, sort of towards the center, but on the left side of the center, you would have this kitchen area and like a storage area. and they would give out food, which is something we've done before, and they were able to cook food and put together meals for people, and also to make meals for lock-ins and for after school and things of that nature. I'm not sure what all they made meals for, but they had a commercial kitchen that was able to put out more than a house kitchen can to serve people. And that's something that we need right now. That's probably one of our main ministries. We do grill and chills, we do cookouts, we throw events where we feed people that are hungry. And we don't just give them a meal, we need an area to sit with them and get to know them and help the love of Jesus Christ come to bear on their lives. We want to know our neighbors. We don't want them to walk through life alone. And we believe that Jesus wants to break into their life and walk with them as well. And so we need a commercial kitchen so that we can put food out, which will bring along other things like insurance needs and the need to have food coming in. And we've got some potential partners, some people I've worked with in the past that could likely help us with the food part. And we've got plenty of team members that could help with distribution of that food. Behind the kitchen area, if I'm recalling correctly, were like some office buildings and bathrooms and things of that nature. And so they were able to do the office administration that was necessary, but they also had rooms that you could do like Sunday schools or little breakout groups. And we do a lot of teaching. That's kind of one of our marks, one of our distinctives, is we hold the Bible in high regard. We care about sound doctrine. That's very, very, very important to us. And we need places to meet with people to work through as groups what the Word says. Like right now we're planning on offering FMBC 101, FMBC 201. Later we'll do 301 and 401 to help people move through a discipleship pathway. But we're also about to teach finances. We'll be using some curriculum and tools that we have to show what the Bible says about finances to help our people become good stewards and grow in that way. We're going to be teaching a curriculum on biblical manhood so that our men can know what it means to be a man the way that God defines it, not the way that our culture defines it. Our children are going through amazing lessons weekly. They've been walking through the Bible using good soil evangelism, the story of hope, walking through that, but they're also working through topics. This last worship service, I was able to walk them through prayer. What does the Bible teach in general about prayer? And they were able to grow, and we saw God bless in that. They were already praying that day with the other adults, but we need places during the week to sit down and teach people and break out into smaller groups. Because again, we can't just go into the facilities that some of our people live in. Folks from outside can't cross over. And some people can't come in my house because their parole limits them. And sometimes my family's sick. Right now we've got, 5 people, Felicity? Well, and me. So out of 11 people, there's like 2 of us not sick with the flu. And so when you have something like that, you can't necessarily bring people in. So it just seems like it's time for a ministry headquarters, a place where we can do counseling, a place where we can do life on life, a place where we can teach, and a place that can grow with ministry. Now, if you were to keep walking through Healing Waters, you'd have another entry door on the right side of the kitchen, sort of like another business was set up there, but you would walk through the door, and there would be all these couches and chairs, and there's an area that was set up for like the piano or keyboard and some of the sound equipment and stuff. And there was even a screen, I believe they had, so that they could have movie nights for the kids and could utilize the sound system for worship services and still have a large room to hang out and talk and do activities. And boy, we did some activities. There was some fun stuff we did there with the youth, but it would be turned into a worship service area. And so folks would sit in those older couches and chairs, and they would gather around and they'd worship God. And again, easily converted, moving stuff out of the way so that you could have relay races and all kinds of things of that nature. We did like a black light hunting thing where people were learning about being persecuted for God and storing the word in their heart. You'd be given a verse and you couldn't get caught with the verse. There were people hunting you, and it was a lot of fun. So anyways, not to get bogged down too much in that, but if you were to go to the back, there was like a weight room. And I actually have stuff that's been donated to me that is enough to make the weight room, but we need a room. And so some of these young men and women were able to go and utilize this weight equipment after school. And they're not out joining gangs. They're not out getting in trouble. They were in a Christian facility around Christian volunteers who loved them dearly and were able to speak into their lives. And they were able to do regular things like lift weights. And if you play football or basketball or any sport, or you just want to lift weights to feel better, you had access to that. And so I can take stuff in my house right now and put it in if we have a room. We're able to do that part of the ministry immediately. But they also built like a skate park in there, and that was pretty cool. If you saw the Stepping Up video that Family Life put out, where they interviewed me and Justin and Brandon in that film, was over by that skate park. So you can kind of see, I think the fence is in it, and we were in there. But it gave them activities to do after school. The things that we see people really called to do ministerially are some of the same things that were happening there. So for one, tutoring. If you've read our plan, that was in our appendix 4, strategy to reach and retain first year. We had after school tutoring. And so still a need here. And we need people to help with that, but we need a place to do that. Where are we going to invite them? We can invite a few kids in our house, but again, not everybody's able to come into our house. Or some people are kind of scared about religious groups here. If you've looked at the demographics, I mean, we've got 30,000 witches. We've got all kinds of religion here. If forms of religious systems: Buddhism, Taoism, Taoism, spiritualism. You've got Eastern Hmong spiritualism. You've got Satanism. I mean, you just go down. They call it Paganistan here for a reason, and it's not the place that you really want to be going to a church in just anyone's house. And I understand that. And so having a location where it can be clear that this is a church and we're working with the city and we're organized and set up, this could give us the ability to be a trustworthy, trusted place to minister and to worship. We put our doctrinal statement online. It's the BMA doctrinal statement. You know what we teach. We put all of our teaching online, so you're able to see our services. And we do that on purpose because we want people to know what they're walking into. We want people to know what we believe because we're trying to multiply what we believe. That's important to us. Sound doctrine being multiplied is very, very, very important to us. So we have the after-school tutoring that we're interested in. We could begin doing that almost immediately. We have the ability to have a place for folks to work out that may be out joining gangs or getting into trouble elsewhere if they don't have anything to do, and we can build relationships there. A lot of our guys work out already, so hanging out, just working out at the place could be beneficial to pour into people's lives. You also have the food program. So we have an organization that could provide food for us to be another food distribution organization on the north side, and they give us good quality food. It's not the expired stuff, it's good stuff. You can even pay like pennies on on the dollar for real and get very good food that you can pick out from their system. But we also want to cook food and have meals with people, and spend time with them, and have a place that people can come out of the cold and sit and read and talk and be around Christians and hear what Jesus Christ is doing. And so that's sort of phase one. We're looking for a place to worship, to teach Bible studies that could be converted to use for cooking for folks and eating with them, so needing a dining area. We're looking for a place that could also do some light tutoring. We may need help with some computers, just basic computers. And, we're praying that somebody will hear the voice of God in this and say, you know what, I'm going to personally partner with you, or I'm going to go back and talk to my church. Or maybe you're a pastor and you're like, I'm going to talk to the church, but also I'm going to talk to our association, whether it be a local association, a state association, even in the national association who has sent us. But just, do you feel led to partner in any way, shape, or form? And I think at this point it's become clear God is working through this ministry. We've seen many, many, many people come to Christ. We're seeing those people join small groups and grow. We're seeing those people move from consumers to those who are contributors, and they're pouring into other people. They want to use their gifts, but we need some help. We need lots of help when it comes to finances. And I could use wisdom help. I've got a steering committee made up of multiple pastors that meet with me monthly. They give me wisdom. I've got coaches. They give me wisdom. They help me think through things. And we just try to run everything by many counselors and make sure that we're doing everything the way that it ought to be done, in a way that honors God, glorifies God, and is going to withstand scrutiny. Like right now, we're working with Start Church to get the church organized. We're making sure it's set up with the state and getting our EINs, and then we're going to move over to a 501c3. And we have a partner. It's paid for. It's a done deal. It's in the works. We've got that going already. And we want to be just as diligent to work through the process of finding the right place. And then we don't want to just have a place that we just sit at or hang out at. No, we want this to be a ministry headquarters. We are training and equipping our people to use every gift that God has put in them for His glory and for the joy of the people around us. God doesn't need our gifts. That's one saying I've heard. God doesn't need our gifts, but our neighbors do. And we take that to heart. Our neighbors need the love of Jesus in word and deed out here at work, and we want to put it to work. We've got people willing to do that, but we need help. God has made us insufficient in ourselves. We are very dependent. We need partners, just like you see Paul and others in the scripture needing partners. And there being people that sacrificially give so that the gospel can go forth in power, so that people can come to Christ, so that ministry can be done, and the testimony of the truth of what Jesus has done in coming and living His perfect life and dying His death to trade places with us and substitute His righteousness for our wickedness, and rising from the dead, coming back from the grave with His resurrection, and ascending to heaven on the throne. That message needs to go out to people. And there is no way that I can do that without you. There's no way that we can make this vision come alive without you. And so I'm coming to you and I'm asking you, if you hear God calling you, will you please partner with us so we can be the hands and feet, the folks on the ground doing the ministry that God has sent us here to coordinate, to oversee, to equip, to train, to launch, and to get moving so that we can continue to do this with additional church plants as we go. So please prayerfully consider individually contributing or contributing as a church. Every dollar matters, even if it's $1 a month, or even mobilizing your groups. We've got the Galileans and the Men's Brotherhood. They've been so good to us to pick us up last year, and there are GMAs that mobilize, and there are individual brotherhoods that may see us, or groups in your church. Maybe you've got a special missions group, and there's, you've been praying, where's a missionary that we can jump on board with and be a part of? You can come out and help us. We'd love to have your team come out and help us. We can put together things to do. But we also need financial support. And you can send that check or that gift to partner with us through the Baptist Missionary Association of America. You can go to bmamissions.org, and they've got it set up where you can give, and you just pick my name, and it comes to the fund that we have available to invest that money in whatever we're doing. And not too long from now, you'll be able to get a donation, nonprofit donation gift slip from the church as well. We'll be set up to be able to do that so that this church can continue to be autonomous in a sense, as we have to maybe do some things that some churches don't have to do to raise funds. Grew up in Oak Park Baptist in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we did everything that we had to. We did part-time jobs at Euler in the food stand and the Travelers to raise funds for youth groups and different events and things of that nature. We did car washes. We'll do whatever it takes to be a long-term presence in this community so that the gospel can go forth in power, and people that have no hope come to find out they've got a lot of hope in Jesus Christ, because they do. And so please prayerfully consider partnering with us to launch phase 1 of this ministry headquarters. Thank you for listening to this long message and praying about this. Have a blessed day.